hard to say when the video starts. Yeah, probably right now. So I probably am talking even though it's not saying I'm talking, but I probably am. So anyway, just have to do a little bit of work to be able to see the chat. So I'll fix that. And I will commence with the video shortly. So jump ahead a minute if you have the opportunity. And things should be appropriately appropriate. Now, it didn't show my live video. Why didn't it do that? It's got the wrong date on it. Yes, okay. Well, where's the live video? Yeah, please, show me the live one. Thank you. Okay, so I should be able to hit that. Yeah, please, show me the live one. There I am, talking. All right, we're going to talk about friction. I was going to play a different video, and I just couldn't find the link right away, so I did a search, and this deGrasse Tyson nonsense came up. So I said, what the hell, this has got to be the stupidest, dumbest physics video on the subject of friction ever made. So that ought to be worth mocking and ridiculing as junk science. You know, because it is junk science, frankly. Really shouldn't be any argument about that. Let's see, where can I put this chat? Let me see if I can do that pop-out thing. Should be able to do it. That will save me some trouble. Chat, hardy thing, chat. What does this do? Well, maybe it's over here. Pop out, there we go. Okay, now I can just get rid of this window. And I don't think it's still playing. No, it isn't. Okay, so I can get rid of this. And I can move this where I could see it, which is preferable. And then I can move this where I can see it, which is preferable. And now I just have to be able to turn the video on and off, but I'll work that out. All right, so obviously I'm arguing that friction is just something has motion. It can have motion doing this, or it can have motion in one direction. So it can have motions in all kinds of directions, or it can have motion in one direction. And it makes contact with something else, and it merely exchanges conditions. They're relative conditions. So whatever motion they don't have in common, okay, they're doing this instead, they will share that, okay, and change, switch, who has what. And so you're just basically saying if something is going like 30 miles an hour and it contacts something, it can give that something part of or all of that motion. That's the reality. Now, it usually doesn't give all of, unless they're two perfect Newton's cradle balls of the same mass, because it can't make the conversion between the high velocity that one object might move and the slow velocity the other one might move, or the vice versa, slow motion and make high velocity. Slow things can't make things go fast. They just can't do that easily. So it's just an exchange. There's no frictional force. So that whole part of physics where they keep calling it a force, there's the force this way, and then there's the frictional force this way. No, there's no frictional force. It's an absorber. It's a sponge. It's the exact opposite of a force in a sense. It's something that's going to absorb your condition. And yes, it's basically sharing its condition, which in most cases, right, if there's going to be a change in the condition, it means they had opposite conditions. That is, the ground wasn't doing this much when you hit it, right? If the ground was moving this way when you hit the ground, well, then there wouldn't be any friction because you'd both be moving the same speed and it wouldn't mean anything. But that's not the reality. So it's just an exchange of the most fundamental thing in the universe, which is momentum. That is, a mass moving a velocity interacts a mass moving a velocity, and they interact for some period of time, and exchange their states. And that's it. But they never create more momentum, and they never lose any momentum. All right. So with that context, I guess, it seems a reasonable context. We'll see. So if you have something else you'd like to comment on or whatever, that's fine too. This video is only 25 minutes long, so I should be able to get through the whole thing without this being a 5-hour video. Don't know if I really want to do the very long video. My health has been marginal of late. Lyme disease again. I'm just so damn unlucky. Anyway, I mean, I just try to pick up a little money, so I've been, doing yard work for people, and it just shit. How come the landscapers aren't all dropping dead of fucking Lyme disease? I have to get it? It's just, just sucks. Anyway, so, I will hit the button. Quit complaining, Gary.
Chuck, I got another one for you.
All right.
It's called friction.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Friction.
Friction.
Now, friction, usually when people talk about friction, it's bad. All right? You could bring out the WD-40. It's squeaking. Right. It's friction.
Mm-hmm. It's a friction burn.
Friction burn. Right, yeah. right. But let me tell you, without friction, life as we know it would not be possible.
So that's bullshit. I mean, it'd be really great, frankly. The amount of energy we would save getting from here to there, doing everything, would be insane. Because we could just fly everywhere. Just 1 inch off the ground. I mean, it'd just be excellent, if there was no friction. And yes, you'd have to make provisions for it in the sense that, you'd have to do something just to stop, angular motion that you didn't want. But otherwise, it's a huge benefit, so no friction. Right? I mean, gravity will still work, and I don't even know how you could have gravity. You have to say no gravity if you're going to say no friction. So that would be a pain in the butt, maybe. But even so, if we adapted to that, we could hop places, like the astronauts leaping on the moon. We could just hop to the store. Come on. It wouldn't be all bad. I mean, you could lift your car and just flip it over. Really simple things. Anyway, let's play with the game. The silly distraction. The subject is, what is the nature of friction? And the nature of friction is you're just merely making contact. Something's falling in gravity, and I just stick my finger out as it falls and rub up against it a little bit. There, I've just transferred some of this thing's motion, its MV, into my finger. That's all that happened. I didn't take all of it, I just took some of it. I made contact, like an electrical contact, and some of my electricity leaked. Period. That's all it is. It's nothing more complex. It's not a force. It's a transfer of force. Right. Yeah, hit this button.
Friction is your friend.
See, I have lots of missing skin on my knees that would beg to differ.
So friction, I mean, just think about it. If you just sort of put your elbow on the table, right? And you just rest it there.
Yes.
And you want to listen to me. If there was no friction, you would just slide.
Okay, so does that make much sense, right? Because you just know you could just figure out that I have to do it this way then. I mean, people in Africa, because there's bugs that'll walk into your ear and, kill you, they'll actually sleep with their hand over their ear. So they learn to adapt, okay? I think we could adapt. That's my point. And the fact of how much energy we would save, it would be insane. I mean, the amount of energy saved, especially going places like the moon or something, would be just ludicrously insane. Everything would be so much cheaper. So, so far, dumb video.
There'd be nothing keeping your elbow there.
Yeah, that's why I
Right.
stopped wearing silk shirts.
So, and let's say you wanted to drive your car. You need the friction between your tires and the road so that you will move forward.
Right, and if we didn't have that problem, we wouldn't have tires. We'd just have a propeller, and we would just fly right over the surface. Yeah. If there's no friction, we just go really fast and not use hardly any energy, and it'd be really cool because we wouldn't be heating the road. We wouldn't be transferring all of our MV into the frickin' road.
If there were zero friction between your car and the road, the wheels would just spin and nothing would happen.
Okay.
You would go nowhere.
You would save a ton of money. Now, whether you would go nowhere, I'm just trying to think if there's something, like I said, if the wheels are turning and you have them like that propeller car and you just have a gear ratio that has a propeller that turns at the same speed as the wheels, well, then you'll go somewhere. So, wrong. Oh, it's just such lowbrow, ignorant physics, this Startalk show. You know, physics for all under dummies. Under dummies? That's like underoos, under dummies.
You wouldn't be able to start the car, to move the car, slow down the car, stop the car, or even steer the car.
All right, so all of that is just stupid because there's actually boats in Florida that are doing exactly that. Okay, so, you know, they go across the English Channel, I think, in those propeller boats. So, wrong again. You know, air, lifted up by air.
All of that requires friction. To walk, you put a foot down, there is friction there, you press back, and your next foot moves forward in advance of it. That required friction. This is why on slippery ice where there is no friction, you can't walk, you can't run, and you say,
So the exact opposite's true. If we just cover the surface with some sticky compound, no problem. Put a little glue and you're all set. You don't need friction anymore. You know, some kind of nonsense like that. You know, some mediator that allows you to do the exchange without moving the whole Earth. Let me just think. It's always going to come down to really manipulating the atmosphere. It would be just we would go back to being fish, and so what we could do is we could swim in our very light atmosphere, and obviously in a very light atmosphere, swimming would be easy.
this is bad, put me back on regular ground. What you're really pleading for is, give me some friction.
Right.
You don't say that because
Okay, so why is this even a subject? This isn't the science of friction. This has nothing to do with the science of friction, having some stupid conversation of the benefits versus the liabilities of, you know, some or all the friction scenarios you can imagine in your head. Okay, the point isn't how useful friction is. The point is, what is its nature? Is it a force? Does it actually counter something? Does it come out of some hole in the ground, and when, hey, something's going to happen, I need to pop out and cause a counter effect. I need to be a counter action. No, there's no counter action. If I give away $10, if I have $10, I give away $5. There's no counter force that takes away my $5. Me giving it away took it away. No friction force needs to show up and say, giving me $5. No, I'm already lost the $5. You don't need to take it again. I mean, I just really don't like this planet.
friction has a bad name. And what do you do when it's cold out and you're not wearing gloves? What do you do?
Yes, you make heat, okay? You transfer motion one way into a bunch of little things moving in all kinds of ways. Yes, so that should explain to you that you're really just turning what could be useful motion, like punching Star Trek, what the hell's it called? Talk. Guy in the face. Useful motion. Oh, I stopped it being useful, and I turned it into waste heat that can never be, not never, but will not be used for anything but maybe pushing rocks into the moon. Because the waste heat will dissipate out of the reach of Earth and bang into stuff in space eventually.
Oh, God,
Hands
that
get
feels
hot.
good. I just realized it's cold in my house.
Okay. So you do that, okay?
Oh, friction video. That's just you do that. Oh, there's other ways I can make friction.
Friction is your friend.
Yes, especially when you don't have any real friends. Anyway.
Oh, that's
It is
nice.
so we'll do a whole other thing on friction becoming heat. That's a whole other explainer.
No, it's exactly the same subject. That's exactly what friction is. It's a transfer from something, some big thing doing one motion in one direction into a bunch of little things moving in all kinds of directions because they already have a motion. So if you imagine the surface of the Earth is a temperature, all the stuff is vibrating. And so some of the stuff, when it hits the moving thing, some of the stuff's going up. So the two forces combine and make a motion that way. And then other stuff is going down. So the two forces, this hits, it's already going down, so now it goes down even more. So there's all kinds of direction difference. Some things are going this way, so the two things hit and you end up with some vector in some other direction. That's in 3 dimensions. And so basically all you're doing is turning a bunch of force that's going one way into a bunch of force that's going a lot of ways. God, people. I can't believe I have to explain this to scientists. College-educated people. Very sad. So somebody comment, please. I mean, I'm going to do this stupid room. One of you could just type something like hello, and then I'll know the chat works, or goodbye, or F you, or whatever you choose. But just put something in the chat, okay, so I have some idea that it actually works. I guess I could. I should be able to. Yeah, I really should. I'll type some kind of gibberish. I can't see my keyboard. Yeah, probably come out some kind of N-word or something. Yeah, that seems suitable. Yay, it does work. Alright, so back to the story. You're not interested in the subject? Viewers? Well, there's only 4 of you. No, there's only... I don't know. Yeah, there's not too many of you. Well, that's okay. It's a holiday, right? Yeah, you're probably all drunk. People. Yeah, I don't get any of it anymore. When you're a dumb kid, drunk, okay, it can make sense. When you're an adult, it doesn't make any sense at all.
That needs its own time for that.
Oh, okay.
But friction can help get you warm. All right. So
It's
the
a
only
baby
thing that
talk.
really does not use friction is rockets. All
Rockets.
other transportation requires friction.
Oh,
Bicycles,
transportation.
trains.
Okay.
So he's just wrong. Rockets aren't the only one. Like I say, all those mechanisms that run on propellers. So what the hell is that? So he just made that up. Launchers, like a lever launcher or something. I mean, obviously you have to have contact with the thing that's pushing you, but theoretically you don't need friction. You could just hold it there in a magnetic field. I mean, I could have put a bunch of magnets and have some other magnetic thing sit there so it never has direct contact. So technically it wouldn't be called friction, would it? And then I can launch it. So it's just wrong. It's like they got. I mean, they really spend money making this stupid show. And, they can't even, do an episode where they actually fact check something.
Planes in order to take off, okay?
Oh my goodness, that's right.
All of this.
Yeah, but planes don't need friction to take off. So again, what the hell is that? If there was no friction, they wouldn't need wheels. They wouldn't even have to worry about it. They just slide into the air. All they have to do is point the plane. All they have to do is, get the nose in the air, and they're off to the races. Oh, man, what silly nonsense.
Requires friction. To take the planes need it to take off.
No, they don't. The wheels are not there to create. They're not moving. They're not powered. They're not like a car's wheels. Oh. I mean, skis can, give you half the answer. And, again, obviously, they had planes that went on water, lots of things. So, obviously, the friction is only there to keep you from not sinking into the water. So, it's kind of silly to say, well, okay, if you're going to sink into the ground if there isn't friction. But I'm just saying, if they got rid of gravity and you had an atmosphere, so there's no gravity, but you do have an atmosphere, planes aren't going to have any problems at all. So if I can put one on, Mars doesn't have enough of an atmosphere. I'm just saying, if I have an atmosphere and I have no gravity, or very reduced gravity, I'm not going to have a problem using an airplane.
Oh.
So with a rocket, however, by the way, it's why rockets work in space, where there's no air, there's nothing rubbing against anything else. It sends material out the back, and it recoils forward.
Yeah, so it recoils forward is the argument, right? When it really doesn't. What it has is a balance of momentums in its reservoir. And what it does is it opens a hole, okay, and lights that, which also creates more expansion. And it just gets pushed by the expansion. So it's just making something expand in one direction, that way, which means the only way stuff could do that is it has to go out that way. That means there's more stuff in the tank going this way than there is stuff in the tank going that way, so the tank goes that way. You're just giving away MV again. You could give it away in any direction. Like if you had a hose on your tank, you could make your thrust in any direction. So it's like the fire extinguisher in the Gravity movie. She could turn it in any direction and create momentum in that direction by giving away one direction while her tank still has the other direction.
Right.
So all rockets that are accelerating are losing mass in order to do it in a recoil. Whereas you don't have to lose mass to do it. You just have to press against the Earth.
And so it's just stupid. We don't have to lose mass, but we have to lose a huge amount of energy. So what are you talking about, right? I mean, it's MV, and yes, you can do it two ways. A lot of mass and a small amount of velocity, or a lot of velocity and a small amount of mass. But it's all got to be accountable.
Right.
Well, Newton told us for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah, so it's a little bit wrong, okay? Because it's clear that I can give away, if I have $10, I can give away $5, and I don't need an opposite reaction to make me only have $5. So it's clearly not an opposite reaction. It's part of the initial action. The action is the interaction, two things doing something different, right? If they're doing the same thing, they're never going to hit each other. Right? So if they're doing the same thing, nothing can go wrong. But if they have to be doing something different, and if they're doing something different, well, then they can collide, and when they collide, they'll exchange that difference. That's all that can happen. And they have to conserve every bit of the MV.
So, if you are standstill and you start moving forward, actually something has to start moving backwards.
So again, this is just such baby talk, because basically in most cases the friction's not going in that direction. It's ending up going down, okay, in this direction, and that it's going in a lot of directions. That's how heat disperses. It takes something going in one direction, makes it go in all kinds of directions. So you can imagine if a bullet goes through clay and it pushes clay, there's motion going in all kinds of directions. There won't be motion in just one direction. So again, it's just wrong to imply that things where you have heat, where you dissipate the energy as heat, that somehow it's in one direction. It's clearly not. It's not going to be an opposite direction.
And it's communicated that way through friction. So what
Communicated is the right word. Interaction, exchange. Exchange is the right word. It's just an exchange of MV, or more specifically, motion, quantity of motion.
what happens? You move forward with a certain momentum. What are you pushing against?
The ground.
The ground. The ground has to move backwards. And it does.
So it really, that's like saying the the earth moves when you push on it. When, what happens is you push on it and the earth pops up over there. Okay, there's no connection. There's no my pressure goes directly to the center of the earth. Well, no, it really doesn't directly do that. Okay, it can start changing direction anywhere. So it's like, again, the bullet example. If something's going really fast, then everything it hits is likely to go the same forward direction. But the slower it's going, the more the direction of the stuff it's hitting. The stuff it's hitting is moving, and the more it's going to share those vectors, and that means it's going to scatter the energy. So most friction scatters the momentum. Oh, I mean, these people are just, they've never really thought about any of these subjects.
So the entire Earth is responding to the fact that you moved in one direction. Okay?
Oh, man. Could we all get together, every human being, just in one group, and start running in one direction? Would we speed up the Earth?
Yes. Or slow it down, depending on which direction. And it has to be due east or due west. Correct.
Yes, we do east.
Yeah, right. It has to be the direction it's moving. So again, they're not acknowledging the fact that if we did it in some other directions, then the directions would actually mix. Okay, because of the fact that it is dispersing the energy. So the fact is, I don't think this theory actually works, because the exchanges aren't, direction isn't exchanged. The momentum is exchanged, not the direction.
Yes.
What?
So if so if everyone lined up, okay, and started running due east, okay, so that will sort of spin. Wait, which way are we turning? We're turning this way. So you have to run due west, and if everybody does that with their scurrying feet, you will.
So you can almost make this argument that so much of what you're doing when you're walking is pushing up off the surface too. So when you're actually trying to go that way, you're doing it by going down and pushing out. So there's more than even one force being involved. That's how hugely inefficient it is. I mean, it's just monstrously inefficient to use friction as a way of exchanging and creating motion. It's why it's pretty cool to fly places.
Speed up the rotation of the Earth.
What?
That is the response of the Earth to you propelling yourself forward by way of.
So they ought to do the actual calculation and figure out if this is anywhere near the truth. That even if you had 8 billion humans all walk the same way at the same time, whether that could in any way have anything to do with the rotation of the Earth.
Friction connecting you to the Earth itself. It's true with cars. It's true with everything. Now, I once did a calculation, and I said, let's get our most powerful rocket engines, bench mount them at the equator where you have sort of maximum torque on the Earth, and can we use that to either speed up or slow down the Earth? Mm-hmm. And I did.
Okay, so that's a lot different than walking, because you're not dispersing the direction, right? You're not making a directional scatter. So if you have rockets and you're directly pushing in the one direction, it's hard to even, you're recognizing that your friction is in exchange with the atmosphere. So yes, the Earth will go one way, the atmosphere is going to have to go the other way. So there's going to be a little bit of a friction problem there. Because there's conductivity between the atmosphere and the surface of the Earth. There's friction. So it's going to constantly be making an exchange in the opposite spinning direction. I bet he didn't put that in his calculation.
The math on that, and it's hopeless.
Okay.
It's like a gnat flying full speed into the side of an elephant and believing the elephant even took notice. Okay. So
very confident gnat.
Very confident.
It's a very confident gnat.
In fact, it's less than that. So, but
take that, Dumbo.
What I'm saying is the momentum that we all gave each other by putting ourselves into motion, you can write down that number. Momentum is your mass times your velocity that you gave yourself, okay?
Or why don't you call it kinetic energy? Yeah, why are you using momentum when kinetic energy is the real thing?
Earth's rotation increase or decrease will have changed by exactly that same amount of momentum. So right. So he's just defending conservation of momentum, but that's not possible because what you're doing is changing the motion of a big thing into the motion of a bunch of little things. And those motions, technically, the kinetic energy won't let you do that. So it's like knocking down more bowling pins. You're going to tell me the big thing has a kinetic energy and you're going to give me this number that's going to say 2,000. And then after it hits the pins, it's only going to give away its momentum. So if I total up all the energy from the pins moving and now the dead ball, I'm only going to get 15 joules. So somehow I'm going to lose a preposterous amount of all this kinetic energy. It's going to disappear somewhere. They both cancel because you started out both not moving relative to each other. So if one thing starts moving, the other thing has to recoil the other way so that they balance out.
So again, it's not a recoil. It's an exchange. It's an exchange. It's an exchange. There's a certain amount of currency between the two, and they're going to balance out their differences. If I have $7 and he has $2, then we're going to have a compromise of $4 or whatever it would be. Now it'd be like $5.
That's physics 101. So if you go forward...
So it's garbage, frankly. There's nothing else to say. It's just not real science.
Earth goes backwards by the exact same total momentum, but Earth has so much mass relative to all the mass of the humans that your momentum, which is mass times velocity, that's the only quantity that has to be the same, all right? So all of we humans run forward and add up all our mass and get all our velocities, add it all up, and we've got this honkering Earth with this really large mass, and it gets a teeny litty bitty velocity.
So we know, like I said, by their theory, though, it's supposed to be that I'm supposed to be able to collect this kinetic energy. So they say the bullet has 2,000 joules. When it interacts with the Earth, it's only going to give the Earth 2 joules. So where's the rest of the energy?
To balance us out. So you don't notice it. But you can calculate what that effect is, and it is real.
It is real. Wow. Excellent.
And it's friction. It's all friction. So I just want you to think of friction as a good thing.
Oh, just put on the Barney the dinosaur suit. Pretend everybody's a fucking imbecile. And they need this jokey, whatever he is, this court jester, to liven things up. Just disgusting.
It's more good than bad. One thing friction does is it slows down things that were put into motion. And
So I love to do an AI thing about the good and the bad, the trade-offs, just because of the gigantic energy savings that we could get by. We could figure out how to survive just fine, floating in an environment where we didn't have to pay the huge friction price.
And
Yes.
Aristotle, not really understanding friction, Aristotle got most of his physics wrong, by the way. He's not,
And so do you. Yeah, you have a lot in common because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about either.
not a champ. He's no hero in physics and astrophysics. by
Thank
the
God
way.
he had philosophy.
Philosophers like him, and he did important things, but there's stuff he could have really checked and he didn't, and so it's before experimental.
Amazing to say something like that. Well, yeah, you could have actually, drawn a couple of slit patterns and figured out it's not just like water waves. You could have done little vectors. You draw the vector lines and say, hey, you know what? There's not an infinite number of these fringes. There's only a certain number of lines you can draw that create a wavelength of difference. And gee, it seems to be completely dependent on how far away the surfaces are. The further the surfaces are away, the more lines you can draw. Yeah, thank you for the gibberish reply. It just proves chatters are gibberish.
Philosophy kicked in as opposed to
Right.
thinking philosophy, and
Right.
and so the
See,
experimental
now-
philosophers, Bacon had a whole book just on experiments that he said he conducted, but there's like 1,000 experiments in it, and that's what all he'd be doing every day for the rest of his life. So I don't think he did them all, but it's a book. He collected them, and so he and Galileo they do the experiment if you have an idea. Okay, so
Because otherwise, and no disrespect, Aristotle, you're just bullshit.
Oh, right. I mean, it's just amazing. They've made up all this crap, antimatter, singularities, all kinds of crap. No evidence whatsoever. Ugh, no real evidence.
you're just thinking stuff up that you think should be true because it makes sense to you.
We can
right.
all do that.
And they are.
And you all are doing that. And the funny part is it's really stupid. Again, I mean, they say you can conserve both the kinetic energy and the momentum. And you can't in any circumstance where you're exchanging the momentum from something light to something heavy or something heavy to something light. In none of those cases can you conserve anything except the momentum.
Armchair. So he said things in motion tend to come to rest. Okay, so that's true, right? All right, but Galileo.
I mean, just really, just sit there and critique somebody who even knew what the very idea of studying motion at all 1,000 years ago. Can you imagine? You didn't know what the stars were. You didn't know what anything was. You're living in a complete mysterious world. You didn't even know what a bacteria was. I mean, come on. What do you want from somebody? Yeah, he realizes that everything that moves stops because, nothing can move in this ocean that we're swimming in, and nothing can bang into the ground we're sitting on without losing its state of motion. It has to give it away to whatever it's exchanging with. Not a terrible thing to reason 2,000 years ago.
Galileo said, wait a minute, if I wax the track, I have a thing, I roll it down the hill and it stops like here. Now I make it smoother. It stops a little farther away. Make it even smoother. It starts even farther away. And he said, wait a minute, what would happen if there was no friction on this track? Where will it stop? And he concluded that things in motion will tend to stay in. He fed Newton's things in motion tend to stay in motion. It's the opposite of Aristotle, unless acted on by an outside force.
Look at that.
And so Galileo was the bridge between Aristotle and Newton.
So you didn't even know who he was talking about, right? I mean, that wasn't... He was talking as if that was Plato or something. Some guy in the middle of the story. So bad. Okay, whatever this is. Let's see what this is. I have doubt. I don't know what that even means. If a monkey is handling to a rope, I don't even know what that means, massless, then another monkey is hanging to it from below the monkey, then it is tension different in the rope, like rope above first monkey. You're just not getting it. If there's still gravity, you still need friction to hold onto the rope, so you're still making contact with the rope and exchanging force with the rope. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm a high schooler, that's why. Okay, well, there's supposed to be no kids allowed, you know. But, yeah, the fact is, I could plead with you, don't take anything they tell you seriously. Adults are morons, okay? And they have just about every single thing they do is corrupt and evil and manipulative and cheating. There's almost no honorable people on this planet, so just prepare yourself for that. They will, they'll all rob you blind if you're not careful. Yeah. Don't even let your grandmother guard your piggy bank. But they're all really dumb. People are so freaking dumb. Adults.
And doing the experiments by waxing the track, making it ever more smooth.
You already said that. Yes, got it.
Reducing the friction coming, that enabled him to establish a fundamental truth about nature, going beyond just what your life experience is.
Yes, Galileo was really, really clever. There's a point where I'd say he was too clever, you know, when he started thinking relativity in some sort of big sense made any sense. But Newton pretty much finished that argument.
So,
Look at that. Galileo, the Mr. Miyagi of physics.
What is that, Mr. Miyagi? What the fuck does that mean? What's a Mr. Miyagi? What the hell is that? I seem to have some notion that I'm supposed to know who Mr. Miyagi is. But who the hell is that? I don't know.
Who knew? Wax on.
wax on, wax off.
Oh, that's it. Oh, the wax thing. Oh, God, I hate this planet. I'm sure Galileo wouldn't like this guy at all. Yeah, he'd really hate him. He'd send the Inquisition after him. Quit harassing me. Get these assholes.
So I just want you to appreciate friction.
I
Oh, I don't even know what you're saying. If how to actually feel physics? What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, you're already broken, huh? Yeah, so you're a high schooler, but you're already a moron. Well, you're from some other country, obviously, too, I guess, but whatever.
I will not. No. I still can't get my head around liking friction. But it is necessary.
Without friction, everything would just be floating, would be gliding.
Sliding around.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people's dream of living in some sort of bubble chambery thing or some kind of environment like being in empty space, but you're able to breathe and do all of that stuff, and you can just use little devices to move around. And a lot of people say, "Cool, I like that." It could be very, it could be a lot of fun, frankly.
sliding around. You sit on a couch, the couch would just slide back.
Yeah.
And by the way, you could push very heavy things. If there's a freight train, I don't care what it weighed, if it's on frictionless tracks, let's say it's a maglev frictionless track, and you have a little handle, just take it and start pulling. So you can put.
So this isn't explicitly true, and this is one of the true things where there's some points where the energy has to reflect because there's not enough of it to move all of the atoms in the object. So you have to be able to move, nothing can move. A train can't move unless every single electron and proton is now got an MV in the right direction. Every single one of them have to be able to acquire enough energy to move. So if you only have enough energy to move half the electrons and protons, the object can't move because you didn't give it enough energy to move all of the electrons and protons. So it's not completely true that you could tie a rope to the earth and I could sit in space and I could make the earth move. No, it ain't gonna happen. What is your own philosophy to life? Because you think like adults are moron. So I'm wondering what it is for you. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're just not making very articulate statements. And I have a channel called In Mendham, INMENDHAM. Okay, and it's full of pretty dark philosophy, pretty dark conclusions about the function of human brains. But I want to talk physics here. Physics.
A force on it, and yes, it's way more mass than you are, so the velocity will be small, but it'll have some velocity.
So it's not really true. So if they really thought about it, they'd have to say, yeah, I understand that if force is in a quantum state, that is, there's a certain number of photons you need to hit something for that something to absorb enough momentum to move, then you know there has to be a minimum number of force bits to move a whole object. And if there isn't a minimum number, it's not going anywhere. And that energy will just be reflected.
Right.
So you can just start pushing it. And this is why those strongmen competitions, okay, where they pull with, in the old days, they pull the train with their teeth, okay? It's because trains are on steel rolling wheels on steel tracks, which has very low friction, okay?
So Sam, you can imagine the compression, pressures are huge. But whatever, we know that yes, it's certainly the smaller the surface, the less friction. So obviously trains are on a small amount of surface compared to a truck. But they pull trucks too.
If you took it off the tracks and let it sit there in the mud and then have them try to tug the train, that ain't happening.
That's kind of funny though.
Yeah, unless it's a boat train. Yeah, boat train. I wonder why there aren't any boat trains. I guess they have them, barges. But they all fall apart and then crash into shit, so I guess they don't use them much.
You could pull things that have wheels on them because wheels have very low friction in the transmission of the movement of that object to the ground because you're not dragging it on the ground.
Right.
But the wheel itself still needs a little bit of friction in order to not spin out. That's all.
So at one moment you need the friction to move, and the next moment, well, it's a very little friction, but obviously it's a lot of friction.
That's so cool. Oh, I have to say, I will never think of friction in the same way.
Yes, I'm totally changed by Star Trek episodes. Startalk. Life-changing experience.
One last thing.
Okay.
One last thing. When astronauts re-enter the atmosphere and they have that, the burning phase,
Yes.
the flames and the thing. All right. We say, oh my gosh, will they survive? This is bad. How good? No, you need that.
So yeah, the point is they have to reduce their velocity, and they don't have fuel, so they can't just thrust a bunch of thrust and slow down. So then they're stuck, having to find something to bang into, in some sort of graceful way, so they can lose their velocity. And so that's what they do. They try to bounce off the atmosphere, and then when they get a little bit of their speed off, then they can try to go through the atmosphere. And it all makes sense. They're going to just, try to let the atmosphere absorb their momentum. Not a surprise. But it's still a catastrophic event that's, I frankly, you'd have to pay me more than a quarter to experience it.
Astronauts coming out of orbit are going 17,000 miles an hour, and they didn't bring fuel to brake.
Oh.
Okay, because all they would have to do, we don't do this, but what they could do is bring enough fuel while you're in orbit at 17,000 miles an hour, because that's orbital speed, turn their ship around and fire it backwards.
Right.
That will slow you down.
Right, so what they ought to do is shoot a rocket up with a big bucket of fuel, and then go with the real rocket and then have it come back, get the bucket of fuel and slow down. Well, whatever. Probably more expensive than necessary.
And you keep doing that.
It probably doesn't work for some other reason, frankly. Because you still, I'm just reducing your velocity. You also have to, you have to make the path longer. If you do it over a short period of time, then the G-forces will wipe you out. So you have to be able to, do that transition over a long distance.
Until you have zero velocity, and then you just drop out of the sky. If you drop out of the sky, you're not going to be burning up.
That would be pretty cool, actually. If they actually figured out how to do that, then it'd be pretty cool, because they could probably use parachutes, and they wouldn't have to bother with heat shields and all that crap.
Because what's burning up is the kinetic energy.
It's not kinetic energy, it's momentum. See how they play with these words. So before he just kept using the word momentum, and now all of a sudden there's kinetic energy. It's the same MV, it's the same thing moving, it's going to have friction, it's going to exchange its momentum with the environment, it's exactly the same scenario, and all of a sudden now it's kinetic energy. I mean, their science is such garbage.
Of having gone 17,000 miles an hour in the first place. I saw a movie. I think it was one of these Mars.
Yeah, I saw a movie. People like me can say that. I mean, people who are scientists shouldn't be doing movie talk.
Movies, one of the earlier ones that came and went, where there's something happening on a platform and the guy falls off the platform, but it's a stable platform up there above the ground. And as he falls, we see him just burn up. It's like, no. The act of falling through the atmosphere alone is not what burns you.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he saw some movie where somebody was 1,000,000 miles up and he fell off a platform and he burned. Yeah, I don't remember that movie. And I've seen a lot of movies, but I don't remember that one.
Up. It's the fact that you are going from 17,000 miles an hour to zero. And where does all that kinetic energy go?
So again, kinetic energy go. The kinetic energy doesn't go anywhere because there's no such thing. The momentum goes from the big giant object into a bunch of hot air.
Oh, there is friction between you and the air molecules passing across your surface. There's also...
So the he's doing this passing across. That's not they go right in backwards with a big fat ass, because they want to hit, the big surface, not the they don't go in head first.
So shock waves that communicate as you're going faster than the speed of sound. Shock waves take all this energy that you have and convert it into heat, and then the heat dissipates, and then you fall down.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't dissipate enough. Frankly, it's still pretty. The damn thing gets pretty hot.
Out of the sky alive because you have special heat shields that protect you.
There you go.
And before we perfected the tiles that we used on the shuttle,
We
you know
had
what the heat
crispy
shield was?
astronauts.
Those tiles were kind of a disaster, right? We know the tiles killed the second shuttle mission. They lost a couple of tiles on the wing, and that's what blew the damn thing up.
They weren't really shields. A shield is something that protects you. We call them shields, but that's not what they were. You know what they were? They were like onion layers.
Yeah, exactly. So the same, in a sense. Okay, you're just saying something disposable that can just be burned off.
Of burnable material.
Oh, so they just burned off.
Exactly.
But you had to go through enough of them to get to the crispy center.
We're the astronauts.
Dude, that's so funny.
Sorry.
Where the astronauts are.
So it turns out coming out of orbit, you need more of these layers than when you come back from the moon. So coming back from the moon, you just make that layer thicker. And then it ablates, and it heats, it burns off, and goes out. That takes the heat away. And as these layers go. So it's a very blunt, effective heat shield. But it's really a shield that dissolves away in the heat. All of that, the friction, the shock waves, and that allows you to not have to take fuel in order to slow down using fuel because you're basically aerobraking.
Sweet.
That's
All right,
what reentry is. It's a form of aerobraking.
That is fascinating.
Friction is your friend. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, brother. Gigantic sucker of value. Yeah. Leeches are fun. Ticks. Yeah, I got Lyme disease. Parasitic infections are fun.
Chuck.
Every astronaut loves friction. Otherwise, they can't come home.
Can't come home. Well, you need fuel to slow down. That's all I'm saying. You want to exploit what you got. And so you should say, great, they're burning up their heat shields. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, again, so somebody has to really make the argument of why they can't just dump a tank of fuel, and pick it up on the way back.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
I'm liking it.
Chuck, friction's your friend.
All right. I got a new friend today.
Whatever that even. What the fuck are they talking about? What friend?
That makes one.
All right, makes one friend. Chuck and his one friend.
I got my one friend, friction.
Everything's kind of funny, huh? None of this was funny, was it? Oh, God, I don't know how people endure this shit. This is like it's like all the asses are smelly, and I don't know why people can't smell the smelly ass. It's everywhere. Smelly ass, smelly ass, smelly ass. And they all somehow are saying, give me a bucket of smelly ass. Oh, shit. All right, so we've done 3 of these, and each room has gotten less and less popular. Sad face. And such. But, well, who cares? I did my part, and, whoa. I made that window really big for some reason. And, yeah, so, good for me. I'm the good guy. I did good things, and nobody else said anything worth anything. Let's see, I was going to check if I should just get the hell out of here because there's something else to do at the moment, and then I'll just get the hell out of here if there's something else to do. Kind of guy I am. Inbox. Alright, nothing new. Okay. So, yeah, I'll give you maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, alright. Yeah, 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes. See if somebody wants to say anything related to the subject of friction or physics in general in some reasonable manner. But apparently you really, and if all this time not one person had done that, then I guess it ain't going to happen. So that's just the way it goes on the internet. Yeah. And such. But this is what they do to friction. They just have a conversation about it, in no sense recognizing that what really happens is friction is a sink. You sink your emotion into it. You lose it. It's a, it's a taking mechanism, you could say, or something like that. But it's not a force itself. The function of friction isn't a force. It's an exchange of force. Alrighty then, I guess we're done. So anyway, I guess I could have left before just having some nicotine. Said, oh, you did it, but well, yeah, what's the point? So we'll have to try again next time. And such. I guess I could have put the chat in here. Yeah, and then you could be guaranteed to see it. Yeah, it was so interesting. Yes, the chat was just so interesting. It really wasn't. Alright, anyway, now we'll just say the hell with it. So we'll call this a video and get out of here. So now I have to figure out how to get out of here. I don't need this anymore. I did download the video to evade the commercials, so I was courteous in that way. Spared you that nuisance. Alright. Average view duration 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I mean, that's just as horrible could be. Ooh, amazing. God damn, people are dumb. I mean, I'm sitting here doing something that will be the future. You're like watching Albert Einstein as a kid or something, young Albert, even though I'm very old. But you're watching something amazing happening. You're actually in on it before it's a thing, right? It's like watching the guy invent the Rubik's Cube or something. I'm giving you some, and you don't get it. You're too stupid. Ugh, it's amazing. Dumbass planet of dumbasses. Alright, so where's the end stream? There's the end stream button. Dumb fuckers. So really, fuck you. Yeah, you viewers. Fuck you, viewers. Fuck you. Useless sacks of crap.